Hello beautiful people and welcome to another video. Early access is always a gamble and I would like to remind gamers to always do their homework before they spend money on anything. Obviously, right? I've had Hover, Revolt of Gamers on my Steam wishlist for at least a year before I finally pulled the trigger. I played Jet Set Radio and Jet Set Radio Future on the Xbox, but have been anxiously waiting for a sequel as both games were something completely new and phenomenal. Jet Set Radio Future was significantly better than the original, as the missions became even more diverse, the gameplay was smoother, and the story was a conceivable reality. That being said, my expectations for this game may be a lot for a small developer company. The story thus far is the player waking up in a cell in a gamer-oriented cyber world. There isn't much else being given or elaborated on at the moment, but there is a police system in place much like Jet Set Radio Future had. The only exception here is that you can be caught and thrown in jail. I had to debate with myself about the gameplay, whether it was better than Jet Set Radio Future or not. I do like how this game does follow the concept on rollerblades, but did it in its own style. Rather than having physical rollerblades, which made Jet Set Radio Future quite unique and fun, this game gives the player hover shoes, or what looks like hover shoes. For a game attempting to make their own mark, it is a breath of fresh air to see which direction the devs will take this. Everything is actually quite smooth, and grinding on rails or wires isn't as much of a hassle as it is in Jet Set Radio Future. The player can press X in this case and can be near a rail and start grinding instantly. Kinda cool. Whether some gamers will like this or not will be interesting, as Jet Set Radio Future did pose a challenge at times to grind on certain obstacles. Additionally, players are still able to perform techniques or moves just like in Jet Set Radio Future. There aren't any major flips or specific technique schemes, but there is a presence of neat tricks available. The one major difference between this and Jet Set Radio Future is that Jet Set Radio Future required the player to do tricks in order to improve their speed. However, Revolt of Gamers allows players to charge up an energy bar to improve their speed and jump range at any time. Tapping X will allow players to charge their energy meter. The more the players jump around, the more their energy bar will deplete. Another major feature within the game rests with character creation. The player is able to create a team and multiple characters with different stats. Hopefully this will be developed upon, as there's some major potential here. Where stats and attributes were previously locked with each character in Jet Set Radio Future, the player has full control over the character's attributes. If you favor grinding, jumping, or physical attributes, this can all be done easily chosen to suit your style. There are no real loading screens unless you go between zones. The zones are quite large and it seems they are split up into different districts. There are a lot of different screens the player may scan, but there isn't any major function with them as of yet. What is predicted to come are spawn points, shop, and graffiti editors. One major feature that is present here, that's not in Jet Set Radio Future, is the ability to rewind time. Sort of. Say you miss a jump or a grind. The player is able to rewind the character back to a previous position. This does not rewind time, but does rewind your player. So if you're being chased by police, don't expect to make them go away so easily. Visually, the game is quite appealing. I absolutely love what they did with the light tail below the character's feet. This feature is not only visually appealing, but helps players to follow AI or other players in cases where tailing someone would be difficult. Hey, who doesn't like visual cues? I absolutely love it. The maps themselves are quite vast and give the player a new tone, feeling, or emotion when entering a different area. Entering a slum area is not extremely different than a rich area, but there is attention to detail that does make the player feel they left an area and entered a new place. Even though visually the game looks cool, I believe there is still a lot of room to add detail, such as shattering glass or other objects that need a little bit more detail because they look too plain. The music is pretty good so far. There still needs to be additions in this domain to make this game immersive. Jet Set Radio Future had a deadly soundtrack. To this day, I hear people still listening to these songs. I can only hope this game does add memorable music. I would also like to see more cutscenes to better explain the story. Lastly, I would like to add that there is somewhat of a system in place to show where the next mission is. It is at times difficult to find where to go next, as scanning 360 degrees in all directions can be cumbersome. I would highly suggest adding a mini-map and visual markers on the screen to help the player navigate. Overall, I am glad I acquired this game, but am hopeful for more improvements. There is a game here, but it does need to remain in early access for another while before it's completely completed. For Jet Set Radio Future's fans, I would recommend waiting for a sale. For people that see potential in this, I'd say go all out and back. Missions are scattered throughout the city. As you can see, I have difficulties with controls sometimes. That's not bad enough, I forgot I couldn't rewind my character without dropping the package. Brilliant. Even though this is a nuisance, I think this is a fair trait to have in the game. In essence, it levels out the playing field for everyone and gives everyone a fair chance. Anyway, here's a scene with me getting chased by the notorious cyber police. I heard these are some bad dudes. There is a jail sector players can explore as well that has some difficult missions. I'm interested in seeing what other uses the police will be assigned. When it's early access, the question is still in the air. I think getting caught is a sign I should go to bed. Thank y'all for tuning in and taking the time out of your day to check out what I have to say. Hey yo, rock on and keep on rocking out, beautiful people.